golden light poured across the African savanna, thick as honey, making the tall grasses glow. Here tranquility felt absolute, beneath a sprawling acacia. Askari. The old king rested his magnificent mane, a dark frame around a noble face. Two lionesses lay nearby, vigilant, their amber eyes missing nothing in the vast expanse, but the real energy. Tiny Kito, all oversized paws and clumsy tumbles, batting at dust motes dancing in the sunbeams, the heart of the lion, pride pulsing with innocent life. Watching from his usual spot on the rise was Ranger Elias. Years had carved lines on his face deep as the tracks crisscrossing this wildlife haven he called home. This wasn't just patrol. Watching this pride grow felt deeply personal, a profound connection. The air hummed with life, birdsong stitching the silence, yet Elias felt it, a subtle shift, a prickle on his skin. Something unseen watched back from the vast open sky. This raw beauty, this fierce belonging. It never failed to fill his soul. But even perfection can hold a hidden flaw. A shadow waiting patiently in the endless blue. That shadow waiting in the blue. Elias adjusted his binoculars, his knuckles white. 30 years as a watcher on these plains meant he knew the rhythms, the subtle shifts that spoke of danger louder than any roar. He'd seen droughts steal life, witnessed fierce territorial battles, felt the quiet ache of loss. But this feeling sharp and cold was different, especially with little Kito down there. The newest spark in the lion, pride he felt almost responsible for. The lion cub, utterly absorbed, stalked a flicker-winged butterfly, his tiny growl a comical puff of air before he tumbled over his own oversized paws. Pure, unadulterated innocence, a fluffy cannonball of misplaced pounces in the golden light, and high above the sky serpent, circled. It wasn't just an eagle. Ancient legend whispered through local villages, painting it as more than a bird. A spirit of judgment, a test of courage, impossibly large, impossibly silent. Its shadow, a fleeting coolness on the sun-baked earth, swept over the oblivious pride. Elias tracked its descent through his lenses. Lower now. Definitely lower. His breath hitched. Decades of hard-won experience screamed a warning. His mind still tried desperately to deny. That cold dread, familiar yet always unwelcome, began to coil in his gut. Not Kito. Please, not Kito. The predator continued its deliberate spiral, a circling shadow against the blinding sky wings, spanning wider than any man stood tall. Its obsidian eyes, ancient and cold, seemed fixed now, locked onto the small, tawny shape below. Again. The shadow passed over the cub. This time, lingering a chilling pause that made Elias's heart pound against his ribs. Kito, finally tiring of the butterfly, flopped onto his back, paws batting playfully at nothing. Elias couldn't breathe. The world narrowed to that tiny, vulnerable spark of life, and the immense darkness poised directly above. The air grew heavy. Charged, waiting. The waiting shattered, like lightning splitting a clear sky. The sky serpent dropped. It wasn't a glide. It was a plummet, a blur of immense feathers blotting out the sun for one heart-stopping second. Talons thick as ironwood branches and wickedly curved slammed into Kito's small, soft body. A piercing shriek of pure terror sliced through the peaceful air as the steel traps snapped shut around the lion cub. Instantly, the world erupted. Askari unleashed a roar that wasn't just sound. It was a physical force, vibrating through the soil ripped from a father's soul. The lionesses were golden blurs exploding into motion, pure lioness fury in their narrowed eyes. From the rise, Elias's binoculars hit the dust. Thought dissolved. Primal instinct surged, hot and fierce. No, he roared, the sound raw in his own ears, as he snatched the gnarled walking stick, leaning against his jeep. Leave him! He launched himself down the slope, legs pumping, heart hammering against his ribs like a trapped bird. A maelstrom of kicked-up dust, panicked animal cries, and raw fear engulfed the scene. The sky serpent strained its massive wings, churning the air, lifting its struggling prey. Kito twisted violently, yowling a pitifully small bundle, dangling beneath the immense predator. The desperate chase was on Askari, no longer just a majestic king, but pure protective rage incarnate tore across the savannah pursuit, massive paws devouring the distance in terrifying strides. His mates ran flank, low growls tearing from their throats. streamlined muscle, rippling eyes glued to the receding shape above. Ranger Elias sprinted diagonally, lungs burning, forcing his aging legs into a punishing rhythm, knowing he was likely running towards his own demise, but unable to stop, a race against time. His hand fumbled for the crackling radio on his belt. Useless. Static mocked his urgent plea for backup. Dust-plumed panic reigned. The once tranquil plains now echoed only with the thunder of paws and the fading, heart-breaking cries of the lion cub. Higher the eagle climbed a living shadow, mocking the frantic pursuit below. Kito's struggles weakened, his small cries growing fainter. Hope frayed with every powerful wingbeat, driving the predator further into the unforgiving sky, seemingly beyond all reach, beyond reach. Maybe for sheer speed, but the sky serpent hadn't counted on the land itself rising to meet the challenge, or on a father's love pushed past every conceivable limit. Ahead, the flat plains suddenly bucked upwards, a jagged rocky outcrop, a small hill thrusting defiantly towards the heavens like a desperate prayer. Askari's breath soared in his chest, his mighty lungs burning from the relentless Savannah pursuit. But a new, ferocious fear lit his golden eyes. He saw it, the jagged rise. One desperate chance. He surged, pouring every last ounce of dwindling strength into his powerful stride muscles, bunching like coiled springs beneath his hide as he clawed his way up the incline. Elias halted, breathless, himself. Eyes wide, watching the impossible prepare to unfold. Atop the rise, Askari let loose a roar that seemed to crack the very sky itself. Not the sound of fury now, but of pure, soul-deep resolve. And then, incredibly, he leapt. Launched upwards, airborne, a magnificent, unbelievable arc of tawny power suspended against the vast blue canvas, lion's courage made manifest, a king defying gravity, reaching with outstretched paws for the winged terror that dared steal his bloodline. The sky serpent swerved in mid-flight, clearly startled by the sheer audacity of the mid-air battle. But it was too late. A massive paw claws extended like daggers, connected violently with a wing. A spray of dark feathers exploded. The eagle shrieked a high, piercing sound of agony and outrage, its body twisting madly in the air. But the blow did its crucial work. The vice-like grip of the talons loosened. Kito slipped free. Oh God. Falling, tumbling end over end, a tiny, utterly fragile life, plummeting towards the unyielding earth like a broken branch carried on the wind. Kito! Elias screamed, pure terror ripping the name from his throat. He sprinted, no thought, just desperate instinct driving him forward faster than he knew he could move, arms outstretched. He didn't try to catch cleanly. He dropped, rolled hustle-pulled, tucking his shoulder into the dry grass, absorbing the sickening thud as the small, limp body landed against him. The force knocked the wind from his lungs. Stars exploding behind his eyes. Silence, heavy, profound silence broken only by his own ragged gasps. Then incredibly from the folds of his dusty jacket, a faint, weak mewl. Alive, bruised, terrified, shaken to the core, but somehow miraculously alive, a miraculous save against impossible odds. High above the injured sky serpent, its flight now erratic and uneven, flapped away towards the west, a dark, retreating shape leaving the climax behind. A wave of dizzying relief washed over Elias, leaving him trembling. He held the fragile life close, heart pounding. But the plains wouldn't stay silent for long. The climax of the rescue was only the beginning of the next act. The next act arrived not with a shriek from the sky, but with the low rumble of heavy paws vibrating through the earth beneath Elias's knees. Still trembling from the adrenaline, the ranger gently cradled the small, warm weight in his arms. Kito blinked groggily, a dazed, frightened look in his wide eyes. A scrape wept blood on his brow. One little paw was held oddly, but he was breathing, definitely breathing. Shallow. Gasps against Elias's dusty jacket. Then the ground trembled more insistently. They were coming. Askari led the way, chest heaving from the impossible chase. Those immense golden eyes locked onto Elias with unnerving intensity. He was flanked by the two lionesses, low threatening growls rumbling deep in their chests, their tails twitching like agitated whips. A tense standoff commenced, thick with unspoken threat. Elias didn't dare move. Not an inch. His heart hammered, but outwardly he remained stone still. He knew the ancient rules of this place. He was an intruder, a different species who had dared touch their most precious thing. He braced himself for the charge, the inevitable lion's judgment. But Ascari stopped just yards away, panting, watching, assessing. And in that intense, unnerving gaze, Elias saw, not the raw fury he expected. Something else flickered there. Something deeper, older. Was it? Recognition. A flicker of profound, unspoken understanding dawning in those intelligent depths. Could there be trust here? Holding that powerful gaze, projecting nothing but calm respect. Elias slowly, carefully lowered the whimpering Kito onto the dry grass between them. Then step by agonizingly slow step, he backed away, hands held loosely at his sides. The mother lioness didn't hesitate, a tawny blur. She rushed forward, her muzzle burying itself in Kito's fur. Instantly, frantic, loving licks covered the cub, checking, comforting, cleaning away the dust and fear. Kito whimpered again, then miraculously, a faint, reedy purr vibrated from his tiny body. Ascari let out a deep rumbling sound, pure satisfaction, profound relief, and lowered his massive maned head beside his cub, nudging him gently. Just then the distant sound of engines grew louder. Back up Elias saw the conservation team vehicles skid to a dusty halt some distance away. Boots hit the ground, but wisely no one approached further. Even from afar, they sensed the sacred reunion unfolding, heart pounding a wild rhythm against his ribs. Elias continued his slow retreat, overwhelmed with awe. He watched the pride reform their protective circle, enclosing Kito once more. An ancient truce seemed to settle over the plains, a moment of profound human-wildlife connection. Bridging the gap between worlds, he had brushed against something primal powerful, and been shown unexpected grace. The wild felt whole again, leaving Elias to grapple with the deep echoes of the encounter. Those deep echoes didn't fade when the dust settled or the lions moved on. Savannah whispers carried the tale far beyond the plains, evolving into legend around crackling fires under starry skies. Some spoke of the sky serpent, not as mere predator, but as a harsh, elemental test of courage, sent to weigh the hearts of beasts and men. Little Kito became resilience, embodied fragile life, refusing to break. Ascari's leap, an unforgettable icon of a father's boundless love, and Ranger Elias. He was the unexpected bridge in the story, the quiet watcher shown a moment of impossible grace, proof of a sacred connection. He sought no recognition. Later, the memory itself a profound reward, an experience etched forever in his heart, noted simply in the worn pages of his journal. That day offered one of nature's profound lessons. Fierce love and astonishing courage aren't solely human traits. They are threads woven deep into the intricate web connecting all life, a powerful shared spirit burning bright against the odds. It's a reminder that the wild heart beats with astounding strength and tenderness, and moments of raw, sacred understanding can still bridge any divide. The legacy of such encounters inspires enduring like the ancient, unwavering pulse of the savannah itself.